gonna go over some opening prep that I have with the London and just kind of show people some of the venom that the London can have, as it definitely has some traps that not everybody knows. So I was gonna go over just some of the positions, and as you can see with these arrows, this is kind of like the start of the London. The start is d4, bishop f4, pawn, knight, bishop, pawn, and knight. Sometimes you can bring your queen here, castle, king, or queen, depending on the situation, and go with it. So as you'll see, starting off, this is one of the first traps that I've gotten a lot of people, especially in the lower ranks. I would say probably 15, 1600 and lower could fall susceptible to this trap. And I mean, it starts off with both sides developing naturally. Um, and after this, usually this, so as you can see, all the pieces are developed besides this. I've still got two pieces to develop, but we immediately come here and we're attacking this pawn. And the thing about it is it defends this knight. Some people will go here and we can play queen here. And sometimes they'll actually play this move, which is probably the better move. Um, and that will actually more or less save the position. But a lot of times they just play this, naturally pushing this pawn down, which runs into the trap. So if they do push it down, we're not we weren't really attacking the pawn to begin with unless they wanted to give it to us. But we were trying to have them push this down. That way, because a lot of times they don't want to move the rook yet, and they don't want to bring the queen over to defend it. So a lot of times they naturally push it down, but then this becomes hanging. It's no longer protected. So we attack it. And a lot of times they bring the queen down and we bring our knight up, again attacking it. And the engine will tell you the best move is to actually take the knight, lose the queen, and take back, and you get um, basically two pieces for the queen. You get a knight and a bishop uh, for the queen, and if you look at the engine will tell you white is up +4, which is a piece, but it could be much worse. But you'll see in this position where the engine is telling you to take, and that is the best. But a lot of people don't take, and they fall here. If they do, you're winning the queen by force, because once you come here, if the queen goes here, we've got the bishop. If it goes back, we can come back with the discover. Um, should say here. And if it goes here, well, obviously knight can take. So the queen is essentially trapped. Um, if the queen goes here, we can actually get a quick mate if they're not prepared. If they go here, 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 and checkmate. Uh, and this is all prep that I've used in games. Um, so if they do go here, once you take, the best move for black is here. But even that loses material because you can take, and if they take back, you can take here, forcing this, and then you get this. And you'll lose a bishop and a knight, but you're getting two rooks, and you're leaving them with, you know, a bishop pair, a knight, and a queen. And as you can see, you're going to have. Hey, John Elway, thanks for the follow. Yeah, give me just a minute and I'll definitely play you. And, so you'll see a lot of this, but, that's just one of the traps. Um, Another mating trap is after simple development. fall back. So in this position, the main line for the London is to pull your bishop back, push up to open up the file. And but here, if they take, we can clearly open. All right, no problem. If you feel like playing, I'll definitely play you. But from this, we can sit here and once they castle, we're actually kind of winning by force. Believe it or not, we can actually move the knight, and once they take and take, regardless of whether they move the wherever they move it, it's it's pretty much going to if they do this, that's probably the best move. But it does run into this, and but the best move is to bring the knight here. Most of them will try to throw it back. Um, there's also ways of once you get this, even if they don't take, and let's say they do something like this, we can actually do this. And in this position, it's already won. Because if the knight moves to attack, we can go all the way up with checkmate. Even if they try to push here, we can go up with checkmate as the knight is covering the retreating square. So we give up the bishop, but we can actually win the game. But one of the main ones, excuse me, is actually a lot of them will do this, and then sometimes they'll move back here to attack it. And if they do, you can actually make by force by sacking the rook and getting this. And I've actually got a couple of games where I've gotten several games where we've gone into this variation, and I just sit there and I pre-move it because I already know the checkmate. Um, One of the ways I like to play against the modern slash Indian defense is I play it a little bit different. And typically I go into the same thing, but I bring my knight there instead of the typical knight to d2. And usually I'll play that in the castle. And sometimes I'll play the bishop first. If they do that, I usually take, and then I can just push up and try to invoke that to get this position. So we give up a rook for the knight and a pawn, but as you can see, our bishops are staring right at the danger zone, right into the den of the king, and at the queen looking to come in, and so a lot of them will push down, but we just take. And if they do take back, we can take here, and there's no way for the king to escape. Because I mean, let's face it, the only things they can do is this, and even if they push down, this is still a mate. As you can tell, queen is covering everything, so nowhere to go. Um, so that's another quick trick for the London. And the reason why I'm showing this is so when I swap over to one of my chess.com accounts to level it up and show people how to develop and play from about an 800 level to about 1,000 level, they can understand some of the basic tactics and understand positions and how to move their pieces and where they want to put them, and we can kind of go over all of that. um, there is a trap by black that can be played against the London. Um, if they do play it, you can actually play h5. The best move for white to stop the trap is to play knight to c3. Or I'm sorry, knight f3. Knight f3 actually stops it. If they play this, then we can go here. Most of them will take this way. And as you can see, we immediately push up. And now that bishop has nowhere to go. A lot of them will fall back, push up here, and the bishop is won. That's one way to get a trap on white, but it, it can be very bad because you are opening up your king side and you are kind of getting some really bad structures going on, and you'll end up having to castle queen side, and there can be some punishment that that white can deliver. So I don't necessarily recommend it, but there is a trick. Uh, here was one of the games that I played, and as you can see, I'm already having visions of doing some fun things, and as you can see, I'm just developing my pieces and trying to invoke him to take, which he does. And now you can see that everything is underway. And once he went there, now I'm actually staring at, as you can see, I'm staring at mate and staring at the queen. And as you can see, the only move to stop the mate is to give up the queen and play something where, he pushes this down and gives up the queen. But my opponent didn't do any of that and just moved it here, and I just checkmated him really quick. Uh, But yeah, so that was one of the games that I played.